Yesterday, Ian read a piece written by Mandy about a book called A Somerset of Doves. Somerset, yes. So, this is the lady who wrote the book, Valerie Bridge.
Yeah, it's not Somerset at all. It's
Somerset, yeah.
It's Somerset because it's mostly about being a refugee and coming not from Somerset at all, but from the far east of Russia and Latvia and that sort of place, because that's where my family background is. And it was tracing the refugee, basically. And it's not just their particular journey I was trying to do. I was trying to do the journey of the refugee, the outcast, the outsider. Somebody not unlike a poet sometimes, but we sometimes feel like outsiders, don't we? Because nobody else really seems to be that interested. And so I started doing this, and actually it's all David's fault that I've done this anyway, because he said to me one day when I was reading some stuff with these street poets, he said, okay, this is your area, so go explore it, and that's what I did. Okay, so this is how it started. And this, in fact, the first poem is, I'm doing 5, and it's going to be 6 minutes, 37 seconds.
Thank you very much.
I hope. I hope. And this is the first poem that started all this off, so you can blame it all on David, not on me. This is the red sickle day at last. The dear fool at the end of the poem is the holy saint, the outsider for whom you should lay a place at table, for whom you should have a bed, and who you should welcome. He's also the poet and the saint and the holy fool of Russia. So this is the background. Red sickle day at last. These birch trees could not stop them. The reds burn in my eyes yet again. They are closing now, no escaping. Our dacha folds under in flame. Thank God, no telltale cigarette papers. Their hieroglyph lines all heart scanned. This day, no water lifts clean out our pump head. Just fire, as heavy, as hard as lead. The bathhouse soap sliver has melted. The second-class icon has no place. They'll find me with you, dear fool, waiting. A size flick will disclose your cold face. Right, so that's where it all started. My mother was born in a refugee camp somewhere in Russia, but my grandmother came from Latvia, and there was a lot of journeying in snow and cold landscapes. And this is about my mother, who never actually went back at all. I had to go back, but she didn't. I don't think she could face it. And anyway, she lived through 2 world wars, so, you know, who would? Okay, so this is called You Spent Your Whole Life Not Going Back. I read your birth certificate, November 1917, Totma. Babushka, that's grandmother, Babushkas walked from Riga to Volodya, via Petersburg, from one camp to another. Ice crushed your throat. Birth in wind chill 5. Did you see sunlight slip round fir trees? Pause over Volodya's unquiet fields. Lick at rifles. As your lips cracked her nipples, did you observe how your breath etched ice crystals on the cracked window? Did the guard's footsteps spill echoes, passing her hiding space down in the ice house? When they found her, did you both see unease in their faces? That hangs from my upper lip, drips onto my tongue stuck up between gappy teeth. My breath clouds the soul I should have shaped. I hang back as grandmother's fingertip brushes my neck and plunges into the gap made by the dropped stitch. Soldiers don't need your holes on their heels, they feel enough pain. Time falls from them already, where it slips for us, she says. Start again. Make perfect stitches. Click. And this is the one really about my uncle, and he lived in Paris and knew people at Piaf, and he was in the resistance, as I said, and he's really responsible for a lot of it. almost as much as David, yeah. Okay, so it's called Loving Too Much. And it's the last poem, promise. You remind me of Dietrich or Garbo in a station restaurant, or maybe of Piaf with Picasso against a yellow Lautrec poster. I see you in profile, your half smile, but it's how I see your head turning that makes me think back on stories you might have been painting, although gone from the place where I listened, drinking pig's blood, that's a wine, and our waves of talking washed with partners, resisting, and light change. I suspect Picasso of the clairvoyance of sunlight, Baudelaire's colour poetry of bull's blood, and Dietrich of stinking of Gauloise. You might have said Bogart wasn't getting enough, inventing distance like Garbo. You remind me of my once-upon-a-time uncle, hymning Lily and Edith in the hollow nights of resistance, preaching Baudelaire and the peeling of grapes, dying of Riesling and sexual ambivalence. Here children gather like feathers on pebbles, crabbing brown fingers on gnocchi with butter, or hurtle in a wind spray of rock climbing, while I accuse you of loving too much. Thank you.
Thank you very much.